So, church, we've been looking at Jonah chapter 1 as part of our series on Jonah and how it speaks to us about being missionaries in our neighborhood. One thing you might find really interesting is that the name Jonah in Hebrew, Yonah, is actually the modern Hebrew word for dove. And what's really cool about that is that we see this word back in Genesis, in the very beginning of the Bible, when Noah sends out a Yonah to go and find land. This narrative in the Old Testament of land and sea is one that has a lot to do with promise or righteousness versus sin. The sea, Micah tells us, is the place from which all sin is cast into. And so there is this idea, a philosophical or maybe romantic one, that somehow connects that dove from Genesis who flew out over the sea until he found the land of promise or righteousness with the story of Jonah, who did the wrong thing by going out to sea, but then came back to land. Now, I'm not going to spoil the rest of the story because we have quite a lot of these still to go through. But what I want to share with you is that this connection between the story of righteousness and sin is one that we find throughout the book of Jonah. And it has a very interesting ending. What we need to remember is that Jonah, like the story of Noah, is one that many of us have learned from children. And as we've grown into adults, it continues to speak and shape who we are. Maybe as children, we thought about it because of the big fish and the story of him being swallowed up by the big fish. But today, as adults and as people who are growing in faith and being challenged by the story of Jonah, we might want to think about that dove. We might want to think about what it means to go out and live out the righteousness and faith that we expect and hope for this world. What I'm saying is that Jonah went forth and he judged the people of Nineveh. But we as missionaries in the local neighborhood need to hear and learn instead that we are walking across to those who maybe don't know God to share his love and to see that righteousness and that impact of God's presence through us and in our lives affect them. So friends, I pray that this would be a blessing to you this day.